I'm not going to tell you what we have done. We're just going to go out there and we're going to continue to show you. We've made leaps and bounds since the spring, and we're going to continue to take leaps and bounds. So that's a goal of ours, and, we're dead set on proving that. Forget talking about it.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley, and I know I play that clip from Matthew Butler leading into these little mini shows quite a bit, but I love that clip. I love that mindset. I love Matthew Butler. I love this football team. I love their grit. I love the way they fight. I love the way they compete. They have an opportunity on Saturday to go beat a Kentucky team that's ranked in the top 20. Some people talked about us having confidence and almost being arrogant, and we need to be careful. We need to be careful by thinking that Tennessee has an advantage going into this game, but it's true. I like the matchup. They still have to go compete. They still have to go execute. They have to go do what they've done all year long, and that's why I love this football team. I love their grit. But there is one huge advantage that this Tennessee football team has going into the game on Saturday. We'll take a look at that coming up in just a second. Make sure you go ahead and smash that thumbs up. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're fans just like you. So if you enjoy the content here, go ahead and subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live. When we drop new content, we will be live on Saturday immediately following the game. So I hope you'll tune in to that. We're going to get into the advantage that Tennessee has. But like I said, we kind of talked about it on Monday's live stream, the matchup. Obviously, Kentucky's going to come in. They're going to want to slow it down. They're going to want to run the football, limit opportunities for Tennessee. Tennessee's going to go fast. They're going to score points. That's what they do. When you look at the team statistics, Kentucky is down at the bottom of the SEC in points per game, scoring 27 points a game. I think if Tennessee jumps out on them early, they're going to make Kentucky uncomfortable as they go through the game. Because like I said, Kentucky's going to want to slow it down. They're going to want to run the football. They don't score a lot of points. So Tennessee, if they start fast, I think it could get ugly in Kentucky. We're going to remind them. We're going to remind Kentucky, we're still your big brother down south. We're going to slap you around. We're going to punch you in the mouth. I hope you're ready for a fist fight on Saturday night because Boogie is getting fired up. But let's get into the advantage that I was talking about. One of our listeners actually dropped a comment on the live stream from Monday and said, you guys failed to mention the biggest advantage of all when you're looking at this matchup. Good comment, good point. Then I saw this article from Wes Rucker over at 24/7 Sports. It says VAWLS very aware of Kentucky's turnover troubles. Let's jump into the article here. It says it's tough to exaggerate how much Kentucky is struggling with turnover margin. The Wildcats are by far the worst turnover margin team in college football. Consider this. There are 130 teams in NCAA Division I FBS football, and just 6 of them have an average turnover margin worse than -1 per game. Kentucky is at -1.5 per game. The Cats played 8 games, and they have an average turnover margin of -1.5 per game. Just 3 teams, Tulane, Arizona, and Memphis, are in the same stratosphere, and all 3 average -1.38 per game. So again, Kentucky, one of the worst turnover margin teams in all of college football, which is not good. And it goes back to what I said earlier with what they're going to try to do, with what their game plan is going to be, to slow it down, play an ugly, sloppy game, run the football, limit opportunities. But that's a big Achilles heel for Kentucky if you turn the football over. Go back and look at South Carolina, Missouri. Tennessee can jump on you in a hurry. And that's why I think it is crucial for Tennessee to start fast, get the crowd out of it, start fast. And if Kentucky's going to turn the football over, I think you end up making them throw the football if you jump on them early. And that's where you have the opportunity to really run away with this thing. Kentucky has 9 interceptions on the year. Again, they're going to want to run the football, jump on them early, force them to throw the football. And then this turnover margin, that Tennessee is well aware of, very likely could come into play. Says Kentucky has turned the ball over 16 times this season, which is tied for 113th nationally. It has forced just 4 turnovers, which is tied for last nationally. And that's something that Tennessee started off pretty rough. They had a couple of fumbles, the interception from Hendon Hooker against Pitt. They've really played clean football lately. So Kentucky struggles to force turnovers. Tennessee protecting the ball. Again, just a huge advantage going into this game on Saturday. That's not even looking at the matchup. If you want to look at the individual matchups, we kind of broke that down a little bit Monday night. Go back, check out the live stream. We get a little bit more in-depth with that. The article goes on to say here the Cats have been solid overall this season. They're 6-2, and one of those losses came at top-ranked Georgia. They've beaten LSU and Florida, which doesn't necessarily mean what it normally means, but it isn't insignificant either. They're big, they're experienced, and they're tough, but their carelessness with the ball and inability to force turnovers had led to an unusual situation for a ranked number 18 nationally heading into November. That's the deal, man. You know, one of our regular listeners has called Kentucky overrated for weeks. And I kind of questioned it until I went back and really went through Kentucky's schedule and what they've done. They may be overrated. They really may be overrated. Look at some common opponents in Missouri and South Carolina. Kentucky only scored 16 points against South Carolina, got out with a 6-point win, beat Missouri by 7, barely got by Chattanooga, 28-23. And I know it's football is a game of inches, guys. It is. Go back to the Ole Miss game. And as much as the end of that game, the way it went down with Joe Milton quitting on that play and just walking out of bounds, go back just prior to that, the throw into the end zone, inches, mere inches from being able to make a play there in the end zone, come down. So maybe that's why Kentucky is where they're at. That's why they're in the top 20, because they've made those few plays, or a few plays went their way, and they're getting those wins. They could have easily lost to South Carolina. They could have lost to Missouri, could have lost to Chattanooga. But they made the plays to get those wins. And like the article says, wins over Florida and LSU, they're not what they typically are. And yes, I know Tennessee lost to Florida. It is what it is. But they went into that matchup with Georgia undefeated, had a lot of hype around them. But when you go back and you look through their schedule, maybe he's right. Maybe Kentucky is a little bit overrated. Look what Mississippi State did to them. I like the fact that Tennessee is coming off of a bye week going into this game. But again, going back to the article, the turnover margin is the big advantage. It says Kentucky turned it over 4 times and didn't force a single turnover in last week's upset loss at Mississippi State. And at one point in the second half, it seemed like the Cats couldn't run a play without losing the ball. Tennessee is very aware of Kentucky's turnover tendencies heading into the Saturday's annual beer barrel border battle at Kroger Field. But defensive coordinator Tim Banks said he doesn't want his VAWLS focused any more or less than usual on the aspect of the game. That's another thing when you go back and you look at the Mississippi State game. Kentucky scored 17 points. 7 of those points came off of a punt return for a touchdown. So, you know, that's an offense that put up 10 points. Goes on to say, in other words, he wants his players to be as aggressive as usual when ball swarming, but he doesn't want them focusing only on that aspect of their jobs. Here's the quote from Banks. Says, no, we don't ever say don't be aggressive. But the reality of it is we know things. Yeah, they have turned the ball over some, but they've also had some games where they've done a great job protecting the ball. So we've just got to do what we do and be great at it. And obviously, if we can knock the ball loose or get some interceptions, strip the ball, that's what we're trying to do on every snap. That's why we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do in every game. This game is no different. We're going to do what we do and try to do it at a high level. When Tim Banks came in, you know, that's what they said they were looking for in a defensive coordinator. A guy that's going to be aggressive, let his players play loose, try to force some turnovers, and that's what we're getting. And you don't really know what Kentucky team's going to show up. Like he said there in the quote, at times Kentucky shows up, they protect the ball, other times they don't. But Tennessee's going to focus on Tennessee, going to go do what they do. Alontae Taylor agreed when he talked about turnovers. He says here, you just play fast. I think as long as we continue to play fast, we get gang tackles. We're having guys rip the ball will be good. We work on turnovers every day during practice, so it'll come natural as coming into it. Like you said, we know that they can turn the ball over a lot, which is good for us. But like I said, we're just going to gang tackle, man. Fly around, be physical at the point of attack, take some air, take out the air, and also cause some fumbles. So you guys know what to do. Hit that comment section. Let me know where's your confidence level going into this game. And don't get it twisted. Just because I'm confident, just because I like the matchup, I understand that Tennessee has to go take care of business on Saturday. But I'm expecting Tennessee to pull out the win. I have that confidence. I just like the way these two teams match up. I think there's a lot in Tennessee's favor. But hit that comment section. Let me know, man, how much do you love this football team? I feel like at the beginning of the season, this fan base was divided. We were divided over the hire of Josh Heupel. We were divided over the quarterback situation. But watching Hendon Hooker take over, I feel like the love that this team has, man, it has brought this fan base together, and they have an opportunity on Saturday to take that next step. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you have not done so yet, please make sure you go ahead and smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. Also, check out our merchandise. You can go to bonfire.com/store/talkinVAWLS. Pick up some merch. All the links to that is in the description. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
The songs how like me, poets sat in our chains, soaking